You are as guilty as they are because you were an essential part of that crime. When you went to spend that blood money on sneakers and jerseys, you revealed to the court the value you place on the human life that was taken.
XXXTentacion's killer calls out Drake in appeal brief. What will Drake do next? On June 18, 2018, 20-year-old American rapper and singer-songwriter José Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, known professionally as XXXTentacion, was murdered in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Onfroy was fatally shot and killed by 22-year-old Michael Boatwright after being robbed in his car by Boatwright and his accomplices Traven Newsome, Dedrick Williams, and Robert Allen outside RIVA Motorsports, an upscale seller of motorcycles and watercraft in Deerfield Beach. Authorities charged the four men with first-degree murder and robbery with a firearm. On August 12, 2022, Robert Allen pleaded guilty to robbery with a firearm and to the lesser conviction of second-degree murder in a plea deal in exchange for his testimony against the others. Boatwright, Newsome, and Williams were convicted of first-degree murder and robbery with a firearm at their trial on March 20, 2023. On April 6, 2023, Newsome and Williams were sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Boatwright received 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus another consecutive 30 years in prison. On May 17, 2023, Robert Allen was sentenced to 7 years in prison with credit for time served, plus 20 years probation after he is released. He was released early from prison on October 26, 2023. Attack. On June 18, 2018, Onfroy went to Bank of America to withdraw money before heading to RIVA Motorsports, an upscale seller of motorcycles and boats in Deerfield Beach, Florida. After withdrawing money, he was followed by a dark-colored Dodge Journey SUV containing Dedrick Williams, Robert Allen, Michael Boatwright, and Traven Newsome. The murder was premeditated. Investigators determined Williams had been in a probation office the same time as Onfroy in January 2018 and recognized Onfroy's car the day of the murder, which Robert Allen confirmed in a police interview. As the perpetrators were driving in the rental Dodge Journey, Williams spotted Onfroy's car in the RIVA Motorsports parking lot and told the other perpetrators that they should go into the dealership to confirm that it was actually Onfroy. At 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Onfroy arrived at RIVA Motorsports and entered with his step-uncle, Leonard Kerr. Security camera footage showed that Robert Allen and Dedrick Williams then followed Onfroy inside the store and walked right past Onfroy as he was browsing motorcycles. They are recorded coming into RIVA and buying 2 black masks. Nearly half an hour later, Onfroy left the dealership, entered his black BMW i8, and began to drive away from the dealership. The SUV drove in front of Onfroy's car, blocking his only exit from the dealership, while Newsome and Boatwright exited the vehicle and demanded property from Onfroy with firearms in hand. A brief struggle ensued, in which Boatwright and Newsome punched Onfroy several times, and Newsome began demanding Onfroy's chain. Amid the struggle, Onfroy's step-uncle fled the car, leaving the door open. The struggle continued with Onfroy being in a state of confusion, yelling, "What is this for?" After failing to retrieve the chain from Onfroy's neck, Newsome then ran to get into Onfroy's car on the passenger side, where the door was left open. Newsome entered the passenger side of the vehicle and stole Onfroy's Louis Vuitton bag containing $50,000 and ran back to the Dodge Journey. Despite the robbery being over, Boatwright walked back 1 or 2 feet away from Onfroy's vehicle, held his rifle, looked Onfroy in the eyes, and fired multiple shots, murdering him. The perpetrators then fled the scene in the Dodge Journey. Accomplice Robert Allen stated at the other 3 perpetrators' trial that after the murder, Newsome asked Boatwright why he shot Onfroy, with Boatwright responding that he tried to grab his gun. though Boatwright's alleged claim was never supported, and at the perpetrator's trial it was confirmed that Onfroy had not provoked any of the perpetrators. Onfroy was later pronounced dead at 4:51 p.m. EDT that day. The shooting occurred east of the city of Parkland, where Onfroy was living at the time. The Broward County Fire Department rushed him to the nearby Broward Health North. Paramedics were able to briefly revive a pulse, but it was never regained. Onfroy was initially reported to be in critical condition following the shooting, but the Broward County Sheriff's Office later confirmed his death. According to the autopsy report, Onfroy had bled to death from a gunshot wound to the aorta. Arrests. Shortly following the announcement of Onfroy's death, the Broward County Sheriff's Office offered a $3,000 bounty for any information leading to the arrest of any suspects. Originally, many fans of Onfroy's, numerous internet users and local residents suspected local Florida rappers Soldier Kid and Soldier Jojo to be the killers of Onfroy due to several suspicious Instagram posts made by the pair with specific details that corroborated with witness reports. But these accusations were later dropped when Dedrick Williams and Michael Boatwright were arrested. On June 20, 2018, 2 days after the murder, the Broward County Sheriff's Office arrested 22-year-old Dedrick Devonshea Williams in connection with Onfroy's murder. Williams was driving in his silver 2004 Honda before a traffic stop occurred. Williams was detained in the car chase that followed. Williams was identified by clothing he wore on June 18, which included orange sandals and a white tank top. The police matched images from security footage to recent pictures from Williams' Instagram feed, which featured the same or similar bright orange sandals. He was also identified by employees who said they saw him enter RIVA Motorsports to buy a neoprene mask. After Williams' arrest, 2 more active warrants were issued. On June 27, 22-year-old Robert Allen was named as a person of interest in the case and was later arrested on July 26. On July 5, 22-year-old Michael Boatwright was arrested by the Broward County Sheriff's Office on drug-related charges, but on July 10, Boatwright was visited by detectives while in jail and was presented with his arrest warrant for premeditated first-degree murder. Boatwright had searched for accessory to murder and XXXTentacion on his phone's web browser after the murder. The former search term was later revealed by Allen to be because Boatwright was incorrectly reassuring Allen that he could only be charged with accessory to murders, since Allen was not the triggerman. Boatwright was determined to be the one who fatally shot Onfroy. The 3 men were later indicted by a grand jury, alongside a 4th, for Onfroy's murder. On August 7, 20-year-old Traven Newsom was arrested. Legal proceedings. Dedrick Williams was charged with dangerous and depraved first-degree murder and probation violation, and was denied bail. On June 25, he pleaded not guilty. 38. Williams had been arrested multiple times prior. During Williams' interrogation, he reportedly went from denying he was involved in the killing to remorse, saying it had cost him sleepless nights and that he did not confess earlier due to fear of being labeled a snitch. On July 10, Michael Boatwright was arrested and charged with premeditated first-degree murder. According to the Broward County Sheriff's Office, Boatwright was initially arrested on unrelated drug charges on July 5 before he was formally charged with Onfroy's murder on July 10. On July 25, a 3rd suspect, Robert Allen, 22, was taken into custody and charged with premeditated first-degree murder after U.S. Marshals found him at his sister's house in rural Georgia. He was booked in Dodge County, Georgia, and was held without bond on a warrant from the Broward County Sheriff's Office. On August 7, the Broward County Sheriff's Office announced on Twitter that Traven Newsom, 20, was taken into custody shortly before 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and had been booked on charges of premeditated first-degree murder and robbery with a deadly weapon. Jose Onfroy's father, Dwayne Onfroy, had stated that he wanted the death penalty for the shooter and life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for the accomplices, since the perpetrators were charged in Florida. If convicted of first-degree murder, they would have been eligible for capital punishment. However, the prosecution decided to seek life in prison without the possibility of parole over the death penalty. On August 12, 2022, Robert Allen pleaded guilty to the lesser conviction of second-degree murder in exchange for testimony against the other 3 defendants. In October 2022, Boatwright's attorneys began to claim that he is incompetent to stand trial and requested that psychological experts be appointed to determine Boatwright's legal competence. Boatwright was declared mentally competent to stand trial. XXXTentacion murder trial. After Boatwright's attorneys requested a psychological evaluation for him before a trial, he was evaluated and ruled competent to stand trial. Trial Judge Michael Uzan ruled on January 17, 2023, that Onfroy's past criminal history and personal character were irrelevant to the crime and would not be permitted subjects at trial. The trial initiated on February 7, 2023. Robert Allen had previously taken a plea deal for second-degree murder for his testimony against Boatwright, Newsom, and Williams. Boatwright's attorney claimed in his opening that the fact that Boatwright searched accessory to murder proved he was innocent, but this was later disproven by Allen, who said that Boatwright searched it because he misinformed Allen that Allen could only be charged with accessory rather than actual murder. A DNA analyst testified that Boatwright's DNA on the mask used in the murder was rarer than 1 in 929 million. On March 20, 2023, the 8th day of jury deliberations, Boatwright and his 2 other co-defendants were found guilty on all counts. Boatwright made headlines for the fact that he blew a kiss to XXXTentacion's family after he was found guilty, with much of the public expressing disgust for Boatwright's conduct. On April 6, 2023, his 2 co-defendants were sentenced to a term of life in prison without the possibility of parole, while Boatwright received 2 consecutive terms of life without parole, plus another consecutive 30 years. The presiding judge Michael Uzan expressed his condemnation of Boatwright at his sentencing, stating to him, "You turned a robbery into a murder. And on that day when you stood there and fired that weapon, you didn't just end 1 life. You effectively ended 5 lives, including your own. You will spend the rest of your life in prison. From here, you will go and be placed in a cell that has a stainless steel slab attached to the wall. That's your bed. And next to it is a stainless steel sink and a stainless steel toilet. That's the furniture that you have in that cell. You'll spend every hour, and every day, and every week, and every year of your life in that cell. And one day, they'll come and open up that cell in the morning, and you'll have passed on. And only on that day will you have served your sentence." On March 20, 2023, all 3 defendants were found guilty on all counts. On April 6, 2023, they were all sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Perpetrators: Michael Boatwright. Michael Sherrill Boatwright was born on September 12, 1995, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Authorities determined that Boatwright was the one who shot XXXTentacion 3 times without provocation and left him to die in his car. He attended multiple high schools such as J.P. Taravella High School in Coral Springs and Northeast High School in Oakland Park before being transferred to Pine Ridge Alternative Center in Fort Lauderdale. He dropped out of Pine Ridge during 10th grade. Boatwright was arrested multiple times prior to the murder of XXXTentacion, mainly on drug charges. In 2013, he was arrested in Broward County for assault or battery on specified officials or employees. The same year, he was arrested again for selling cocaine or heroin within 1,000 feet of a school zone. For these charges, he was put on community control. In 2015, Boatwright was arrested again for possession of cannabis and PVP, which also counted as a violation of his community control. Boatwright had already been in jail for an arrest on unrelated charges related to cocaine possession with intent to distribute before he was charged with the murder of José Onfroy. Boatwright is affiliated with the Florida ZMF gang. On April 6, 2023, he was sentenced to 2 consecutive sentences of life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus another 30 years consecutive for other charges. Traven Newsome. Traven DeMarcus Newsome was born on May 5, 1998, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He was one of the two gunmen in the murder. Little is known about his personal life, but he was living with co-conspirator Robert Allen at the time of the murder. 2018, rapper Juice WRLD released 2 tracks, Rich and Blind and Legends, as a tribute to Onfroy and other rappers. The cover art for both songs reveals an Instagram DM conversation between him and Onfroy. Between June 18 and October 21, singer Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas wrote a song dedicated to Onfroy titled 6.1818, which was performed by Billie Eilish during their One by One tour. Drake brought back into XXXTentacion murder case following new appeal. Dedrick Williams implicates Drake in XXXTentacion murder case with new appeal, citing Instagram post and Feud. Drake has been relinked to the 2018 murder of rapper XXXTentacion after Dedrick Williams, one of the men convicted in the case, named the rapper as a possible suspect in a new appeal filed in November. Williams is one of 3 defendants accused of the robbery and shooting of XXXTentacion, whose real name was José Dwayne Onfroy. The new appeal, filed by Williams' defense attorney, Mauricio Padilla, was discussed in an interview with Law and Crime Network on November 30. Padilla referred to an Instagram post made by XXXTentacion shortly before his death, which allegedly stated that if he were killed, it would be by Champagne Papi. Drake's well-known Instagram handle, Padilla paraphrased the post. "Imagine the dead said prior to his death, if anybody kills me, it's Champagne Papi," suggesting that Drake may have been involved. Padilla further explained that XXXTentacion had a history of public feuds, not only with Drake, but with several other rappers connected to Drake's OVO label. The defense attorney highlighted that several of his client's defense witnesses, including other rappers, could testify to the tensions between the two men. 20-year-old XXXTentacion was shot and killed outside a motorcycle dealership in Deerfield Beach, Florida on June 18, 2018. Williams, Michael Boatwright, and Traven Newsome were arrested and charged with first-degree murder and armed robbery. The robbery, which involved the theft of $50,000 in cash, was captured on CCTV and presented as evidence at trial. In March 2023, all 3 men were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Padilla also referred to a conversation from 2018 between DJ Academics and XXXTentacion, during which Academics allegedly warned Onfroy about his ongoing feud with Drake. According to Padilla, Academics cautioned Onfroy that while he wasn't a gangster, he might provoke a dangerous reaction from Drake. This, Padilla argued, added context to the rapper's statements about Drake in his now-deleted Instagram post. Onfroy had written, "If anyone tries to kill me, it was at Champagne Papi. I'm snitching Aaron." Padilla claims that Onfroy deleted the post, later claiming his account had been hacked. This post, Padilla suggested, could point to Drake's involvement in the rapper's murder. Additionally, Padilla mentioned XXXTentacion's mother, Cleopatra Bernard, who allegedly knew about the feud between her son and Drake. Padilla referenced legal documents where Bernard had alluded to this conflict. Drake was previously subpoenaed to testify in the case and was scheduled to appear for a deposition via Zoom in February 2023. However, he did not show up. Padilla requested that the court issue an order compelling Drake to testify, stating that without such an order, it was unlikely that the rapper would cooperate. "This is one of the biggest celebrities in the world," Padilla said. "Excluding an order from this court, we all know I will never be able to take his deposition." The appeal has brought Drake back into the spotlight of the case, reigniting questions about his involvement. However, it remains uncertain whether the court will consider this new information. As of now, the 3 men convicted of XXXTentacion's murder remain in prison, serving life sentences.